There's a force inside you that's been silenced, conditioned, and tamed by the world around you. From a young age, you've been taught to color within the lines, to obey the rules, to quiet your instincts, to be realistic. But let me ask you something. Has playing small ever made you feel powerful? Has shrinking to fit someone else's definition of acceptable ever brought you fulfillment? Of course not. That uneasy feeling deep in your gut, that's your inner beast stirring. It's the part of you that knows you're meant for more. It's primal, it's pure, and it's been waiting for permission to wake up. The savage mindset begins with this awakening. It's not about rage or chaos, it's about clarity, power, and presence. It's about remembering that you weren't born to simply exist. You were born to dominate, to create, to push, to rise. There is no success, no breakthrough, no legacy without first tapping into this raw, authentic drive. But here's the catch. The world isn't going to hand you that key. No one's coming to unlock that gate for you. You've got to tear it open with your own hands. We all have moments when we feel the beast stir, when we hit rock bottom, face betrayal, or are pushed past our limits. That's when the mask comes off and the real you steps forward. But you don't need to wait for pain to find your power. You can choose right now to call that part of yourself forward. You can decide to stop playing nice with your potential and start confronting the man or woman you were meant to be. That version of you doesn't make excuses. That version doesn't look for approval. That version doesn't settle. That version moves. The beast within you is driven by instinct, but guided by vision. It knows what you truly want. It's the voice that keeps whispering, "This isn't it, there's more," but you've been taught to ignore it. You've been taught to sit still, stay safe, and follow the crowd, and that's exactly why most people never rise. They've buried their drive under fear, under self-doubt, under comfort, but you're not most people. You wouldn't be listening to these words if you didn't feel that truth burning in your chest. You've got to strip away the lies, peel off the limitations, and reconnect with your primal nature. Not to destroy, but to build. To create a life that reflects your highest self, because make no mistake, success doesn't come to the one who waits patiently. It comes to the one who claims it. The one who walks into the fire, who leans into resistance, who shows up when it's hard, when it's lonely, when it's uncertain, and still chooses to roar. That's the beast, that's the fire, that's the power waiting for you to stop ignoring it. And when you start to live from that place, everything changes, your energy shifts, your decisions sharpen, your habits strengthen. People feel it when you enter the room, not because you speak louder, but because you know who you are. You stop chasing validation and start commanding respect, and more importantly, you begin to respect yourself. So the question is simple. Are you ready to stop pretending you're average? Are you ready to wake up that savage within and let him or her take the wheel? Because once you do, there's no turning back. You weren't born to tiptoe through life. You were born to break chains. Now's the time to rise. The beast is waiting. Most people don't fail because they lack talent. They don't fall short because they weren't born into the right family, or because they didn't get the right education. No, they fail for one simple reason. They get too comfortable. They start choosing what's easy over what's necessary. They build a routine that feels safe, predictable, and familiar, and then they rot inside of it. Comfort is seductive. It whispers in your ear that you've earned a break, that it's okay to coast, that good enough is good enough. But understand this, comfort is the enemy of greatness. It's the silent killer of dreams. When you live in comfort, you stop growing, your edge gets dull, your ambition fades, and worst of all, you start convincing yourself that where you are is where you're meant to stay. That's how people go from hungry to hollow. That's how vision turns into regret, because nothing extraordinary has ever been born from a life of ease. The savage mindset knows this. That's why it doesn't seek out comfort, it hunts discomfort. It looks for the resistance because it knows that's where the growth is. If you want to own your life, you've got to start dominating your environment instead of being shaped by it. You've got to look at the space around you, the people, the habits, the distractions, the noise, and ask yourself, Is this helping me become the person I'm here to be, or is it helping me stay the person I've been? That question will reveal everything. Most people live as a reaction to their environment. If the room is full of low standards, they shrink. If their peers are lazy, they slow down. If the mood is negative, they complain. But a savage brings the standard. A savage doesn't adapt to the room. They shift the energy, they raise the bar, they lead. That kind of power doesn't come from wishing or waiting. It comes from choosing the uncomfortable path again and again until it becomes your new normal. Waking up early when it's cold, saying no to shortcuts, taking action when you're tired, having hard conversations instead of avoiding them, pushing for more when most would settle. That's what it looks like to dominate your environment. You don't wait for motivation, you create it through momentum. You don't wait for the perfect setup. You adapt, improvise, and execute right where you are. Because the savage understands that success is not found in the ideal, it's forged in the imperfect. It's born in adversity, it's built in the grind, and let's be honest, if you're not creating pressure for yourself, life will create it for you. So take control now, set your own fire, train your body, sharpen your mind, and command your space with intention. Because you can't afford to keep living in environments that numb your hunger. You can't afford to keep entertaining patterns that coddle your weakness. You were built for more, and deep down, you know it. This world isn't going to hand you anything. It will hand you distractions, comfort, mediocrity, but never greatness. That part is on you, and when you finally get fed up with being surrounded by things that shrink you instead of stretch you, that's when the real shift begins. That's when the savage rises, and from that moment forward, comfort no longer controls you. You control everything. There's a myth that floats around in our culture like a sweet poison, the idea that success is about passion, about feeling inspired every morning, about chasing your dreams with a smile on your face and fire in your chest. But let me tell you something real. The people who reach the top don't rely on feeling ready. They don't wait for excitement. They show up regardless. They lace up their boots when it's hard, when it's boring, when no one is watching. That's not motivation, that's not inspiration, that's discipline, and discipline, my friend, is savage. It's not glamorous, it's not loud, it doesn't make headlines, but it builds everything worth having. While others are sleeping in, skipping steps, taking days off they didn't earn, the disciplined one is putting in the reps. Not because they feel like it, but because they said they would. That's the secret the world won't tell you. Discipline is the quiet engine behind every loud success. It's the reason dreams materialize into reality. It's the bridge between who you are and who you're meant to become. You want to change your life. You want to build something that lasts, then you have to become ruthless with your time, your energy, your focus. That means doing what needs to be done, especially when you don't feel like doing it, because anyone can show up on a good day. Anyone can train when they're motivated, but the savage shows up on the worst day. The savage trains through the storm. The savage works when they're tired, hurt, doubting, frustrated, and they do it with purpose. Not because it's easy, but because it matters. You've got to fall in love with the grind, not the idea of it, not the aesthetic of hard work, but the reality of repetition. The reality of early mornings, of late nights, of pushing through plateaus, of showing up again and again with no applause, no validation, no immediate reward, only the deep knowing that every single rep is a brick in your empire. Discipline doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't negotiate with weakness. It's not concerned with convenience. That's why it's powerful. That's why it separates the average from the exceptional. Because once you develop discipline, you stop being a prisoner of your mood, you become dangerous, you become focused, you become unstoppable, and here's the truth, no one is born disciplined, it's not in your blood. It's built, it's earned through practice. You carve it into your character one decision at a time. Every time you get up when you don't want to, every time you choose the hard path, every time you stay committed when it would be easier to quit, that's you putting on armor. That's you becoming something most people never will: consistent, reliable, unbreakable. That's what the savage mindset is about. Not hype, not flashes of brilliance, but ruthless follow through. It's about walking into each day with a mission and making damn sure that mission gets done. No matter what. Because once discipline becomes who you are, not just what you do, you don't just chase greatness, you embody it. So forget waiting for the stars to align. Forget hoping for the perfect time. There is no perfect time, there is only right now, and the savage shows up. The savage executes, the savage wins. Because he refuses to disappear, everything you want to achieve, every goal, every breakthrough, every ounce of greatness, starts in one place: your mind. Before it ever shows up in your bank account, in your body, in your relationships, or in the life you're trying to build, it has to be one within, and that's where most people lose, not because they aren't capable, but because they never learn to master the mental battlefield. They let fear speak louder than faith. They let doubt drive. They listen to the voice that says, "You're not enough," and they believe it. But the savage knows that if you don't conquer yourself, you will be conquered by everything else. The most powerful force you'll ever face is not the competition, it's not failure, it's not your circumstances, it's the war inside your own head, that quiet voice that whispers, "Quit," that subtle suggestion that maybe you're just not cut out for this. The savage doesn't pretend that voice doesn't exist. The savage hears it, stares it down, and chooses to move anyway, because the savage understands that winning in life is 90% mindset, 10% mechanics. If your thoughts are weak, your actions will be too, and if your actions are weak, your results will never rise. Every challenge, every obstacle is first filtered through your mind. If your mind is undisciplined, it will twist adversity into a reason to retreat. But if your mind is sharp, trained, resilient, it will turn that same adversity into a reason to rise. It will feed off it. That's why your thoughts must become your weapon, not your weakness. You have to take control of the narrative running through your head. Because let me tell you something, if you don't program your mind, the world will, and the world will fill it with limitation, with fear, with mediocrity dressed up as normal. You've got to write your own code. You've got to speak truth to yourself louder than the lies life throws at you. You're not a victim. You're not broken. You're not behind. You're becoming. Every time life knocks you down, it's not punishment. It's pressure being applied to reveal what you're made of. Every setback, every delay, every heartbreak is a part of the process that forges strength. You don't grow by running from the fire. You grow by walking through it. Mind sharp, heart steady, eyes locked on the vision. That's why mental mastery isn't just self-talk or positive thinking. It's self-leadership. It's about choosing power over pity. It's about doing what's hard because you know comfort will never make you king. It's waking up with anxiety and moving anyway. It's having fear and doing it anyway. It's hearing that inner critic and still showing up like a warrior. You don't win by silencing the noise. You win by refusing to obey it. And the more you take command of your internal world, the more your external world bends in your favor. People feel it. Opportunities come. Energy shifts, not because the world changed, but because you did. You no longer approach life hoping things get easier. You rise knowing you're getting stronger, and that shift, that mindset, that's what separates the savage from the spectator. You were never meant to be ruled by fear, by doubt, or by limitation. You were built to lead, to create, to dominate, not just out there in the world, but right here in your own mind, because once you win up here, nothing out there can stop you. Most people go through life quietly. Not because they're humble, but because they're afraid. Afraid to take up space, afraid to be seen, afraid to own the fire that's been flickering inside them since day one. They drift, they delay, they apologize for wanting more. And slowly, without even realizing it, they give their power away. But I'll tell you right now, no one is coming to rescue you. No one is going to hand you your dream, tap you on the shoulder and say, "Now it's your turn." If you want to own your life, you have to step into the arena loudly. With intent, with fire, with a decision that you're done shrinking and you're done waiting. Living with ruthless intent isn't about being reckless, it's about being deliberate. It's knowing exactly what you want and having the courage to go get it without softening your edge to make others comfortable. It's about making bold choices, not perfect ones, but yours, because when you live passively, life passes you by. But when you live with ruthless intent, life moves because you move. You stop reacting and start creating. You stop surviving and start building. And suddenly, everything around you begins to reflect the power that's always been inside you. Intent is what turns action into impact. Anyone can be busy. Anyone can check boxes and spin in circles and convince themselves they're working. But ruthless intent is different. It's focused. It's fierce. It doesn't waste time. It doesn't get lost in distractions or excuses. It gets up every morning with a clear reason why, and it attacks the day with precision. And when you start living like that, doors open. Not because they were unlocked, but because you kicked them down. Look around. So many people are moving through life like it's a rehearsal. Playing small, staying quiet, hoping someone else leads the way. But this isn't a practice run, this is it. This is your one shot, so why hold back? Why dim your light just to make others feel comfortable in their shadows? You weren't put here to be neutral. You were put here to lead, to create, to conquer. First yourself, then your world. The truth is, people will question you when you raise your standard. They'll doubt you when you move differently, speak differently, live with purpose. Let them. Your life isn't meant to be understood by those who are afraid to own theirs. And the more you commit to your path, the less you'll care who approves of it. Because when you live with ruthless intent, validation becomes irrelevant. You're not waiting for applause. You're not chasing permission. You're walking in truth, and that's all you need. Owning your life loudly means taking full responsibility. No more blaming, no more pointing fingers, no more waiting on circumstances to change. You become the storm. You stop saying someday and start saying now. And with every decision, every action, every day you show up like it matters because it does. You are the author of this story. The pen is in your hand. And the savage doesn't write timid lines. They write legacy, so don't tiptoe, don't hesitate, don't hope for change. Be the change, live like you mean it, move with boldness, speak your vision, claim your space. Build with urgency, lead with courage, and never forget this, the life you want will never be handed to you. But if you show up with relentless purpose, it can be taken. Now you know what it takes. Not in theory, not in abstraction, but in truth. The savage mindset isn't some catchy phrase or motivational slogan. It's a decision, a commitment, a relentless way of living that rejects mediocrity, kills comfort, and rises above fear, failure, and excuse. It's the moment you stop negotiating with your potential and start demanding more from yourself. Not tomorrow, not someday, but now. You've heard the voice inside you, the beast you've tried to ignore, tame, or silence. But it's still there, waiting for you to stop pretending, waiting for you to take the mask off, to step into your full power and finally stop apologizing for it. That voice is not here to destroy, it's here to build. It's here to lead. It's here to remind you that you were never meant to just survive this life. You were meant to own it. And yes, it will take more than motivation. It will take discipline. It will take sacrifice. It will take showing up when you're tired, focused when you're frustrated, and fearless when you have every reason to back down. It will take confronting the war within, rewriting the story in your mind, and acting with ruthless intent every single day. But what you gain in return is everything: power, purpose, legacy, a life that reflects the strength of the one who built it. Not luck, not circumstance, you. So don't wait another second, you've got what you need. The path is not hidden, it's just hard, but that's why it belongs to the savage, the one who chooses fire over comfort, clarity over confusion, domination over drifting. You are not average, you were never meant to blend in. You were born to take over, own your life, tap into that inner beast, and don't just walk through the fire, become it.